The night sky glows under the pale moonlight. On top of a towering skyscraper, a single figure shines faintly, suspended in the air like a star herself. The heroine floats gracefully, her voice cutting through the silence. Egoistic, your games end here. The villain lifts his head, a grin spreading across his face. He claps his hands with mocking approval. You did very well this time too. As expected, an arrival worthy of my acknowledgement. Her expression hardens. I don't need your acknowledgement, you piece of trash. Egoistic chuckles lowly, then calls her by the name the world knows her by. Stardust. From the very beginning, the one who always interfered with my games was you. It seems tonight will be my final act. You've grown far too strong to play with me anymore, Stardust. Her eyes narrow in confusion. What are you talking about? But Egoistic only steps backward, stopping at the edge of the building. You won't see me again. And then he leaps off, saying, Goodbye, Stardust. Her heart stops. Panic flares in her chest as she dives after him, her body cutting through the night air. She reaches desperately toward the falling villain, her eyes wide, fear and desperation twisting her face as if she's terrified of losing him. Egoistic, falling freely, stares up at her reaching hand. For the first time, he wonders, why is she like this? The scene then shifts to a few years ago. A young man sits on the edge of a tall building, gazing down at the bustling city. Looking at it like this. It's just like Seoul. This is Kim Da-in, 22 years old, the man who will become known as Egoistic. Below him, chaos erupts. A B-rank villain is being mercilessly beaten down by two C-rank heroes. Egoistic only watches, mask in hand. This place is nothing like the Seoul I once knew. In this world, villains run rampant, while heroes with dazzling powers fight desperately to hold them back. I was isekai'd into the world of my favorite comic, Starlight. And in this world, I decided I would become a villain, but only for her. With a flicker of light, his body vanishes. His teleportation ability carries him effortlessly to another rooftop. A voice cracks in his ear. What are you doing? Egoistic tells her he just teleported and needs to rest for a while. The voice scolds him. You hunt villains like it's nothing. Where's your sense of tension? He chuckles softly. It's all part of my plan, Seo-woon. His eyes darken, remembering that in the original story, the villain called Rhino devastated the city. He even brutalized the poor heroine in front of everyone. But this time, Egoistic won't allow it. He won't let those bastards torment his Stardust a second time. He'll crush them while they're weak, before their darkness can spread. His gaze pierces the walls of a nearby building, honing in on his target. Rhino sits casually on a couch, reading something. Perfect timing. He lifts his weapon, loading it with steady hands. Fortunately, I've gained abilities strong enough to carry out my plan. The first, teleportation. In the blink of an eye, a gun materializes right in front of the criminal's face. The villain flinches, caught completely off guard. This is Rhino, destined to rise as an S-rank monster, a psychopath in a rhino mask who slaughters hundreds. Egoistic's second ability is telekinesis. He appears behind the criminal and coldly says, Goodbye, Mr. Rhino. In the next second, a bang goes off as his telekinesis pulls the trigger. Egoistic bends down, plucking the paper Rhino had been reading. His eyes skim over the blueprint of a department store. As expected, another terror attack in the making. Seo-yoon then informs Egoistic that the police and Hero Association have received reports, so he should get out in 5 minutes. He thanks her through his earpiece, and she replies, If you're thankful, bring me a Malona bar when you come back. Egoistic switches off his earpiece. He touches the blood of the criminal and writes a message on the window. With a grin, he says, This should be a perfect gift for her. A short while later, an officer confirms the victim is the A-ranked villain, Rhino. He reports that the perpetrator is presumed to be the same person who previously killed the A-rank villain, Zodiac. Then he hesitantly points to the window where a message is written in blood. It's for Stardust. The heroine clutches her fist and furiously says, That crazy bastard. I will definitely catch you. Later, news about the murder of Rhino spreads online, with people questioning if the killer is another villain. The comments flood in. But if he only hunts other villains, isn't he a hero? Others agree. LOL, for real. He's likable. Villains just escape from prison anyway, so I support him killing them outright. He's doing what heroes can't. For us, it's a real feel-good moment, right? Meanwhile, Egoistic reads these comments and gets frustrated, shouting that this is a huge problem. A woman enters and asks why he's shouting. We are now introduced to the super genius Han Seo-eun. Kim Dae-in furiously says, "They're thanking me for killing villains." At this rate, only my image will get better. Then what about the hero who's chasing me? She questions if he's talking about Stardust, and he affirms. Public opinion towards Stardust is bound to get worse. To stop this, I need to firmly imprint on the public that I am a very, very bad guy. He then tells Han Seo-eun to prepare. She asks what he's scheming now. He points to a bunch of explosives, saying, "It's time for Villain Egoistic's official debut." The scene shifts to a massive skyscraper where people are enjoying the view from the 111th floor. As a countdown hits one, Egoistic suddenly appears on the large screen. "Hello everyone, my name is Villain Egoistic." The crowd panics as he laughs. "So you're probably wondering who on earth I am? The person who eliminated Rhino recently, and Zodiac before him, is none other than me." He live streams the skyline, saying, "Enough of this kind of irrelevant talk. Do you see that over there?" He points to another tall observatory building, 61 floors high. The people panic, realizing that they are in that building right now. Egoistic grins. "I have installed bombs at those two locations." The crowd from both buildings is shocked. They try to escape, but the elevators are locked. Surrounded by drones and cameras, he strikes an epic pose, saying, "Now, shall we start the game? If there's a villain, there must be a hero, right? The A-rank hero in charge of Seoul, Miss Stardust. To stop me, you're already on your way." She rockets toward him at high speed. Egoistic checks his villain drip, and lastly his mask. He wonders why he's so nervous before finally meeting her in person. Then, Stardust makes her superhero landing, and our villain is left in awe by her beauty. Her blonde hair flutters in the air as she glares at him with fierce eyes. Our villain just stands there blushing, completely captivated. The smoke clears, and our villain calms himself down, thinking about his past. In a flashback, we see Kim Dae-in stumbling through an alley during a disastrous battle. He pleads for someone to send him back to his original world. He then exits the alley and sees Stardust on a massive, bright display. He can't believe it. He's actually been isekai'd into the comic. Now in the present, he thinks to himself, "If I became a hero, I could be with you." But I, who had watched Starlight to the point of memorizing it, knew that even if I became a hero, I couldn't protect you. So to protect you, there was only this one path. Stardust grits her teeth. "Are you egoistic?" Our villain stays silent, thinking, "I'll become a villain just for you, so you only have to walk on a flowery path." He holds up the trigger to the bombs. "Don't move. If you come even one step closer, I will immediately..." He doesn't finish, instead grinning. "You know what I'm implying, right?" We get a flashback of Kim Dae-in when he was 15, watching a show where Batman has captured the Joker. The Joker laughs maniacally, and our boy thinks, is Joker a real psycho? Even for a villain, his act is a bit over the top. Back in the present, we see our villain laughing maniacally, just like the Joker. Stardust narrows her eyes as he does his villain laugh, and all she can do is stand there, helpless, as the people trapped in the buildings cry for help. The scene shifts to a few minutes earlier. She tightens her fist, ready to beat the crap out of him. Our villain notices and smugly points at her. "I know exactly what you're thinking right now. My subordinate controlling the broadcast also has a switch, so don't even think about subduing me with force." This causes her to stop. Our villain strikes an epic pose, asking, "What do you think of this stage I've created just for you, Stardust?" She furiously replies, "You crazy bastard, release the innocent people right now. Then I'll just beat you up a bit before I take you in." Egoistic holds up his hands. Yes, of course I'll release them. After all, it's what the hero of justice, Stardust, says." He then addresses the broadcast. "Attention everyone, please look at me. Now, I will release the hack on the elevators for each observation deck." He snaps his fingers and the elevator buttons in both buildings light up. Seeing this, Stardust thinks, there's no way it'll end this easily. A man hurries to press the elevator button, but Egoistic says, "Wait." They all look at the screen in confusion as he continues. "It's no fun if I just let you go, is it?" That descent button that just lit up. The moment you press it, the bomb on the other observation deck goes boom. Simple, right? You have 30 minutes. Hurry up, press it, and go down. He finishes with an evil smile. Hurry. They're complete strangers anyway, aren't they? The people in both buildings begin to panic. Stardust grits her teeth furiously and calls him a bastard. Egoistic smugly says, "Today we will witness the pinnacle of human selfishness." He announces that this is the game of Egoistic. The crowd erupts into chaos. One guy shouts, "If the other side presses it first, we'll die for nothing. We have to be the ones to survive." Another woman retorts, "No! Are you saying you're going to kill the people over there with this one button?" Another man yells, "We don't have time for this. What the hell is the hero doing at a time like this? Hearing their desperate cries, Stardust stands there helplessly, thinking, even if I rush in and take him down, his accomplice will detonate the bombs remotely. Damn it. She glares at him and asks, is it fun for you to play with people's lives? He chuckles. Stardust, one of South Korea's few A-class heroes. Someone who firmly believes in justice and never compromises with evil. In fact, I have a great deal of respect for you. She asks what nonsense he's suddenly spouting. He thinks to himself, I just wanted to praise you since you're being broadcast all over the country. He then says aloud, seeing you so helpless, unable to do anything, is what's truly amusing. I'll give you a chance to participate. I will connect you to those people who are desperately waiting for a hero. She's confused, but he explains, if you succeed in strengthening their resolve, and no one presses the button on either side until 30 minutes have passed, the bombs will not explode. She cautiously asks, how can I trust a bastard like you? To which he replies, it's better than standing there helplessly, isn't it? She tightens her fist in frustration. Egoistic points to the screen, and all the cameras turn toward her. The live broadcast begins. The citizens are surprised as she opens her eyes with determination. Hello everyone, I am the A-class hero Stardust. As she speaks, our villain thinks to himself, this is it, this is what I wanted. I'll be imprinted on the public as the villain who caused this terror, and she just needs to show them how brightly she shines. This stage is for you, Stardust. She continues her speech. Let's show this villain that we are strong, that the faith we hold is unshakable, that we will never yield to evil. Egoistic grins as the timer is almost at its end. Everyone prays, hoping no one presses the button. Finally, the countdown ends. They all look surprised. The bomb didn't go off. Then the villain decides to put his acting skills to the test. Egoistic yells, no way! The cameras all fall as he shouts, weren't those selfish people supposed to be scrambling to save their own skins? This can't be. Surely at least one person should have pressed the button. Humans aren't this altruistic. Why? Stardust replies, egoistic people aren't as selfish as you think. Not everyone can be altruistic, but I believe in the goodness of humanity. Egoistic acts shocked. So it was because of you, Stardust. You united them. He grins. This is amazing. The next game, I will absolutely be the one to win. She lunges at him, but he vanishes into thin air, teleporting away just in time. The crowd celebrates in joy, praising Stardust for saving them. The scene shifts to egoistic teleporting to his secret base, but the moment he arrives, he falls face first to the ground in pain, muttering that he's dying. That fatal side effect of his teleportation makes him take physical damage proportional to the distance traveled. He grumbles that he probably won't be able to move for a couple of days. Seo-eun walks over. I told you not to wear that hat. It's really lame. It makes you look like a third-rate villain. Meanwhile, our boy cries out her name, begging her to just bring him a glass of water, but she just walks away, telling him to get it himself. The scene shifts to Stardust, levitating in the air, watching as people celebrate with their families. She furiously says, to think he'd play with people's hearts. Next time, I will definitely catch you, egoistic. The next day, at the Korean Hero Association, a man displays media headlines questioning Korea's broadcast security. He then switches the screen to egoistic, analyzing his mask and abilities. The president of the Korean Hero Association, Park Jin-ho, begins the briefing. He tells the presenter to skip the review of egoistic's past victims and get to the new intel. The man displays the bombs from yesterday's incident. First, it appears the bombs were attached to the building's exterior in advance, using his teleportation ability. They've been confirmed as high-performance custom-made bombs. The president holds his head in frustration. So he made them himself. Are there any clues on the broadcast hijacking? The man replies, no, sir. It's still a mystery. We are considering the possibility that he has an accomplice with exceptional technical skills. One more thing, the man says. Egoistic appears to be obsessed with Stardust. He left a message for her at the murder scene and mentioned her directly during this incident. The president questions Stardust on what he was like in person. She stays silent for a moment and says, I believe he's some kind of psychopath who enjoys playing with people's minds. On top of that, he has the capability to plan large-scale terrorism. He is, without a doubt, a villain. The scene shifts to our boy. He opens the fridge and drinks orange juice directly from the bottle. Seo-eun calls out, hey, you're drinking straight from the bottle again, aren't you? Our boy spits out the drink in surprise and tries to deny it. She crosses her arms in anger, and we are introduced to Han Seo-eun, holder of the superintelligence ability. Our boy thinks, This girl who keeps calling me Big Brother is a genius hacker who, in the original comic, grows up to become an S-class villain. Well, that's the original setting. For now, she's with me. Seo-eun then yells, "This is my house! Are you going to keep acting like it's yours?" Our boy sheepishly says, "But I'm the one paying for living expenses." She shuts him up and tells him not to drink from the bottle again. He smiles and pats her on the head, which makes her blush. Then she pulls away. More importantly, we have a situation. In the control room, Seo-eun says, "Do you remember that woman I mentioned before, Lee Soo-bin, our potential accomplice?" Our boy asks, "Was it the girl you said was active on the deep web?" Seems like she was a fan of mine. Seo-eun points to the screen. "Look, she's right here." An announcement plays out. Egoistic followers are currently in the middle of a terrorist attack in Incheon, holding hostages. Our boy is surprised. "What the hell? Is that woman being held hostage there right now?" But Seo-eun points to the screen. "That woman wearing the mask is our target." The announcement continues, stating that the followers desire only terror and death. The police report at least 3 fatalities and about 300 hostages still trapped inside. Hearing this, Kim Daein asks Seo-eun what their principle is. She replies, "Never kill civilians." Kim Daein then coldly says, "I need to go clean up those bastards. Will you help me, Seo-eun? And as for that woman, I'll decide after seeing the situation on site." The scene shifts to the site of the chaos, and we see Stardust biting her lip in anger. Through her earpiece, she requests permission to engage, and the voice from the other side tells her to stand by. After the police's final negotiation attempt fails, permission to engage is granted, along with a kill order. Her veins pop as she furiously thinks, "Egoistic, why is he here?" In the past, terrorism was a straightforward battle of superpowers, but he doesn't primarily use raw power. He uses explosives and broadcast hijacking to put heroes on the back foot. Pressuring me like that is bound to provoke a negative reaction from the public. To think a copycat crime would happen the very next day. Then a voice in her earpiece says, "Stardust, Egoistic has appeared on the scene. He's broadcasting the situation live on YouTube. Please confirm immediately." Surprised, she opens YouTube and sees Egoistic's live stream, and the comments are already going wild. The criminals point their weapons at our boy, but then they realize it's their hero, Lord Egoistic, who has descended upon them. They all raise their weapons and celebrate, believing he's come to help them kill the ignorant humans. Our guy just glares, thinking, "Ugh, my whole body is aching again from that long-distance teleport. It's all because of you bastards." The criminals get confused by his reaction, and in the next moment, Egoistic laughs. Through his earpiece, Seo-eun tells him the location of the person holding the detonator. Egoistic looks at the guy standing next to the pillar, and in the next moment, the man's head explodes as Egoistic uses his telekinesis. The shocked criminals shout that he must be a disguised police lackey. They all point their weapons at our villain, but in the next moment all their weapons fly out of their hands, pointing straight at their own heads. Our villain grins. "On the contrary, I have never had ignorant followers such as you." Gunshots ring out and the comment section goes wild. Some question, aren't they on the same side? Why is he killing them? Others say it's satisfying, while another jokes that villains are stepping up instead of the heroes. Stardust receives her final permission to engage, with orders to prioritize the safety of the hostages from both the terrorists and Egoistic. She surges toward the building as we see Egoistic pointing a weapon at a girl's head. From his earpiece, Seo-eun says, "Hey, save that woman." I checked and she was dragged here by the other followers against her will. She didn't take part in the terrorism. The poor girl sobs, pleading for someone to save her. Our boy takes her mask and throws it away, asking her, "Did you do something wrong or not?" This is Lee Soo-bin. With tears streaming down her face, she says she was wrong and starts crying her eyes out. He points the gun back at her head. "If you keep crying, I'll shoot you." She immediately stops. He then bows to the hostages and apologizes. "I'm sorry. Although this was not my doing, I feel a great sense of responsibility for this copycat crime." The crowd is shocked as he continues. "To everyone who was harmed because of me, I will be sending compensation to your accounts. I once again apologize to the 3 who tragically lost their lives, and I will provide the maximum amount of compensation." Our boy then thinks, "Whoops, even if I send it from shell accounts, they'll probably trace it back. But whatever. Seo-eun will figure something out, right?" Seo-eun gets a headache and through the earpiece tells him to just grab the woman and come back already. He quickly snatches the girl, but his body aches from the after effects of teleportation. In the next moment, the wall bursts open, and our villain is surprised to see Stardust. The scene shifts to the peaceful campus of Yonsei University. News reports confirm Egoistic's bizarre promise, showing he actually paid compensation to all the victims. In her civilian form, Stardust sits alone in a cafe, scrolling through her phone, reading messages, calling him Mangostic, and joking that he only saves women. This is Shinharu, and she sighs in frustration. A flashback shows her crashing through the building, only to find Egoistic trying to escape. She lunges at him, but his legs give out from the side effects of his teleportation. She gets frustrated as Egoistic teleports away instantly with the girl. Back in the present, a frustrated Shinharu sighs heavily while trying to study. Her senior, Kim Ga-hyun, approaches with a drink, asking if an assignment is giving her trouble. Haru quickly denies being distracted. The true source of her frustration is her ongoing obsession with the villain, Egoistic. Her notebook is filled with his name as she tries to decipher his cynical philosophy. Her friend snaps her out of it, suggesting they ditch their work for Haru's favorite mango dessert. The mere mention of mango lifts her spirits, but her good mood is shattered by a memory of Egoistic's maniacal laughter. Every time she hears the word mango, she only remembers his stupid nickname, Mango Stick. Haru grips her pen tightly, her mind still fixated on the villain who has stolen her peace. The scene shifts to a seemingly normal house in Seoul. Behind a second, hidden front door lies an elevator that descends dozens of floors underground. The place they arrive at is none other than Egoistic space. We see Kim Da-in relaxing while Soeun complains about him naming her house. He playfully argues that her house is his house, which she immediately dismisses as nonsense. His casual demeanor shatters as he cries out in agony, prompting Seo-eun to tell him to stop whining. From inside a recovery pod, Da-in explains that teleporting with another person doubles the physical toll. Unfazed by his dramatics, Seo-eun simply goes back to her book. Meanwhile, Da-in blissfully enjoys the healing effects of the recovery capsule, calling it the best invention ever. Their new recruit, Lee Soo-bin, arrives with groceries, explaining that the fridge was completely empty. She nervously offers him a snack, causing Da-in to panic about a wanted criminal casually shopping for them. Soo-bin proudly explains she used her bangs as a disguise, a plan Da-in finds even more suspicious. Their conversation is interrupted by an excited Seo-eun, who sprints towards Soo-bin, demanding an ice cream bar. Da-in watches in disbelief, wondering if they recruited a new member just to run errands for them. He teleports out of the pod and questions why Soo-bin is there as she hands the prized ice cream to Seo-eun. She casually reveals she needed Soo-bin's help with a task, leaving Da-in utterly flabbergasted. He argues against her presence, fearing she might turn on them, but Seo-eun calmly dismisses his concerns, clarifying that Soo-bin was an unwilling participant. She confirms the woman's identity, leaving Soo-bin stunned that she knows her name. Seo-eun interjects, claiming to know everything about their potential recruit. While enjoying her ice cream, Seo-eun reveals Lee Soo-bin's parents were researchers for the notorious Hanun group, a name tied to a tragic past. The revelation leaves Soo-bin visibly shaken, unable to comprehend how they know her secret history. Seo-eun explains she easily bypassed Soo-bin's online security, finding posts that revealed a deep desire for revenge against the Hanun group for what they did to her parents. Seo-eun then says, "I'm also looking for the leaders of the Hanun group. I've also suffered a lot because of those bastards. My grudge will only be resolved if I find them and crush them all." With a look of cold fury, she extends a hand, formally inviting Soo-bin to join her quest for vengeance. Da-in watches the interaction intently. He realizes Soo-bin is another victim of the shadowy Hanun group, just like his partner, Seo-eun. He reflects on recruiting Seo-eun by promising her revenge, a move that also saved her from a villainous future. He then considers their new recruit, dismissing Lee Soo-bin as a minor character from the original story, and questioning her potential. His train of thought is shattered by the sight of Seo-eun and Soo-bin locked in a sudden, tearful embrace. Da-in stares in utter confusion as the two girls continue their dramatic emotional bonding, noting that he's completely lost and Seo-eun's tough persona is crumbling. Deciding to stay out of it, he retreats to his recovery pod. The story shifts to a restaurant where a man with purple hair glares with irritation at a woman pleading for him to leave her alone. A police officer intervenes, but the man arrogantly dismisses him. The officer grabs the man's arm, placing him under arrest. A surge of red energy erupts as the man's teleportation power activates. In an instant, the officer is transported to the top of a skyscraper. The villain casually kicks the officer off the ledge, sending him plummeting to the streets below. This is the A-rank villain, Ha-yul. A vision of the original story reveals a dark future where Stardust is overwhelmed by monstrous dragons. This grim timeline also shows Seo-eun as the powerful S-rank villain, the White Witch, but in the present, the future S-rank villain is just a 16-year-old teenager, furiously accusing Da-in of drinking all her orange juice. He panics, but Subin reveals that she was the one who drank it. Seo-eun's anger immediately vanishes as she warmly embraces her new friend. Da-in watches them, suddenly questioning if Seo-eun has finally dropped her old tough guy act. Later, a flashback reveals Seo-eun's true identity as the only survivor of the Hanon group's horrific experiments on children. An unexpected power surge from another child caused a catastrophic explosion that destroyed the entire facility, and only Seo-eun managed to crawl from the wreckage. For years, the young genius lived in complete isolation in the basement that would become her secret base. Another flashback reveals the moment Da-in first appeared before a young, isolated Seo-eun. He found her defensive and hostile, brandishing a fork as her only weapon. He extended a hand in peace, assuring the terrified girl he meant no harm. With a confident smile, he declared his true purpose was to save her from her lonely fate, vowing to prevent her from becoming a villain who dies alone. Back in the present, he watches her and resolves to lead her down a better path. His thoughts shift to their new recruit. He inwardly muses, in the future, it seems Subin will be in charge of assisting Seo-eun's hacking. I was suspicious because she's a character I don't know, but more than anything, her cooking skills are amazing. Egoistic then gets the attention of the crowd. Everyone! This trash here is a bastard who stole tens of billions and killed 4 innocent people. They were someone's husband, someone's father, someone's friend, someone's son. Do you think we should let this guy live? The crowd agrees, shouting for Egoistic to kill the bastard. Hayul furiously shouts, "You son of a bitch! What's the difference between you and me?" Egoistic smirks, thinking, in the future your crimes will increase as you become an S-rank villain and massacre hundreds. And most of all, you torment Stardust too much. He then coldly says to Hayul, "You're not going to say we're the same, are you? I'm sorry, but you'll have to die here." Then, bang, Egoistic glances towards the crowd to watch their reaction, but to his surprise, they all praise him for finishing off the villain and saving their taxpayer money. Our boy is left speechless, thinking, no, if a person was shot and killed right in front of your eyes, shouldn't you be scared and scream? I really can't get used to the people of this world. He removes his hat and bows to the cheering crowd, then points his gun towards them, questioning if they are scared because he's a villain. The crowd gets a bit anxious, and then Egoistic hears a woman yell his name. He looks up and sees Stardust speeding towards him. He realizes he drew too much attention and aggroed her. She makes her superhero landing, calling Egoistic a rascal, but our boy just blushes from her beauty, thinking, even though she's blunt, normally she's just a normal college girl. But whenever she does hero work, she adopts this awkward, historical drama tone. She's so cute. Stardust questions what on earth he has done. He points the gun towards her. What have I done? I just eliminated the malicious A-rank villain who killed 4 people. I simply did what a hero should have done. Stardust grits her teeth in anger, but our boy claps back. Isn't it possible for an A-rank villain to be subjected to summary judgment at the discretion of a hero? Stardust questions if he's a hero, to which he says he's a villain. Then he gets an idea, a chance to praise Stardust right here, while everyone is filming. It's perfect. He claps his hands. As expected of Stardust, private retaliation committed by a villain like me is a violation of the law. I respect you for having such a strong sense of justice. It seems I'll have to withdraw for today. But then suddenly the crowd starts muttering, "What? Didn't you only show up after everything was over? What did Egoistic do wrong, honestly?" Our boy is stunned as the crowd supports him and starts trash-talking Stardust. From his earpiece, Seo-eun yells at him to stop acting up and come back already. Egoistic tries to fix the situation. "Oh, it's not that I think I did anything good. As a villain, I will continue my evil deeds. So, Miss Stardust, try to stop me." He then teleports away, leaving her standing there in humiliation. She looks down at the body of Hayul, questioning her beliefs. The scene shifts to Egoistic's hideout, where he is again in pain. Seo-eun tells Lee Subin to help her, and the 2 girls drag him to his recovery pod. Later, Stardust sits on top of a building, scrolling through multiple posts trash-talking her. One says she couldn't even catch the A-rank villain, but Egoistic did it easily. The comments are taking a toll on her mental health. We get a flashback into Shin Haru's past. On a rainy night, a shady man stands over the corpses of her parents. The 17-year-old Haru desperately calls out to them. The man holds up their wallet and laughs. "You should have just handed it over. Blame your dumb parents." He points the gun at her head, but decides to spare her, walking off and leaving the poor girl crying. She slams her fist on the ground, muttering that if only she had the power to protect them. As she cries, a golden light descends from the sky and hits her, lighting up the dark alley. Her hair turns blonde as her newfound power takes root. The flashback ends. Back at the hideout, Da-in wakes up in his recovery pod. Seo-eun laughs while telling him to read a post. The post lists the facts about Egoistic, took out Rhino, Zodiac, and the teleporter, crushed a terror attack by his own followers, and even paid off the hostages. Honestly, I don't think Egoistic's even a villain, LMAO. Seo-eun laughs, saying it got over 7,800 upvotes and only 12 downvotes. Our boy is shocked and asks, "What about Stardust?" Seo-eun pouts that he's always talking about Stardust, then reads the comments. Egoistic's better than Stardust. No joke. Seriously, what has Stardust even done? King God Egoistic's already taken down 3 A-rank villains. Another comment says she's the least active of the A-rank heroes compared to Shadow Walker or Icicles. Dae-in is worried. Do most people think like that? Seo-eun holds up her phone. Yep. Meanwhile, Egoistic even has a fan cafe. The Mango Troupe. Our boy is flabbergasted. How the hell does a villain have a fan club? He decides he can't let this slide. Prepare for the next terror attack. We're doing this. Seo-eun is taken aback, and Subin is surprised he wants her to join. Our boy excitedly pumps his fist. The people of Korea need to see what a real villain looks like, and who the real hero is. I'll put Stardust back on top this time. The scene shifts to a cafe. We see Shinharu enjoying her mango juice, but it triggers her PTSD as Egoistic flashes in her thoughts. She recalls the crowd mocking her. Haru sighs and thinks, the public's more hyped for Egoistic killing villains than for heroes who just let them off easy. I only tried my best, so why do they hate me? She slaps her cheeks, trying to focus. She hears a voice ask why she's slapping her cheeks. Haru calls out Ga-hyun's name, who sits next to her. Nice day out. Relax a bit. Haru smiles. You're right. I didn't even notice the cherry blossoms were blooming. She then remembers something. Hey, want to see something funny? Apparently, it's super trendy now. She shows her the Mango Troupe Egoistic fan club. I kind of like him now too. This causes Haru to get furious, as even her best friend has fallen for this villain. Her friend then notices something on her phone. Egoistic is live streaming right now. Haru is surprised and checks her phone. Then, a voice from her earpiece says, Egoistic has called out Stardust again. Return to headquarters and deploy at once. Haru quickly stands up and apologizes to her friend. Something urgent has come up, so I need to go. Her friend calls out her name in confusion, but Haru just bolts off, determined to catch Egoistic. The scene shifts to a cliff where Egoistic greets the citizens of Korea. The comment section starts to hype him up, and our villain is frustrated, wondering if they think this is some kind of fan event. He chuckles loudly. Lately, I've heard a lot about me, that I'm likable, a hero, not a villain. I even got a fan cafe, but you're all mistaken. I am a villain. The camera pans to a railway track. On one side, a woman is tied up. On the other, 5 men are tied up. He signals that a train is coming, and the comments are shocked. Egoistic calls out to Stardust through the live stream. The rules are simple. Leave the lever, save 1, lose 5, pull it, 1 dies for many. Either way, someone dies. Don't get clever. Try pulling people off the track and I derail the train. Got it, Stardust? On time, Stardust appears, calling him a bastard. She looks at the track, thinking, if I save them, the train passengers are doomed. She starts to stress, trying to come up with a plan to save everyone. Egoistic laughs. Now, the express is coming. What will Stardust choose? The comments all say that she has to pull the lever. One even disgustingly comments that she should save the woman so she can reproduce to cover the deaths. Egoistic looks satisfied, thinking, as expected, everyone thinks Stardust will pull it. But I know better. The Stardust I know would never do that. We see Lee Subin panicking as Stardust rushes towards the train. Egoistic switches off his live stream audio and tells Subin not to worry. He then turns the audio back on and puts on his act. No, impossible. What is Stardust doing? She'll be torn apart. Stardust, why the suicide run? Stop! Stardust collides with the train head-on and tries her best to slow it down. She grits her teeth as the train starts to slow, but then it suddenly gets faster, and our boy is shocked. He quickly calls out Subin's name, but she's been knocked out cold by the feedback. Egoistic starts to panic, realizing that at this rate, Stardust will be torn to pieces. The scene shifts to a few minutes ago. We see Egoistic tying a woman to the railway track, thinking, ugh, this is exhausting. If it weren't for Shadow Walker, I could have done this leisurely at night. He gazes below, proud of his plan. In the original story, Stardust becomes stronger by being worn down as she defeats villains. If I eliminate the villains beforehand, she loses her opportunity for growth. Just think of this as a special strength training I prepared for you. The scene shifts back to the present as Stardust heads straight for the incoming train. The comments are worried that if Stardust dies, Soul will have no hero. Our boy is satisfied that Stardust is doing exactly what he wanted. He thinks her abilities are still a little lacking. Stopping this train should be impossible for her. However, her powers grow explosively in a crisis. She can definitely stop something of this level, but then the train speeds up, pushing her faster. Our boy is shocked. The cause of the malfunction is his accomplice, Soo Bin, who has fainted on the controls. The villain's carefully laid plan begins to fall apart. He imagines the worst-case scenario where his staged event results in an actual casualty, which would not only ruin his reputation, but also send Stardust down a dark path. Unaware, Stardust keeps trying, gritting her teeth as she exerts her full strength. She lets out a final desperate roar as she channels every last bit of her power, cracking the very ground beneath her feet. The massive train finally screeches to a halt just inches from the hostages. A wave of relief washes over Egoistic, a wide grin spreading across his face. He anxiously watches the live feed, wondering if she survived. But through the settling dust, Stardust stands firm, exhausted, but undeniably victorious. Egoistic erupts in a silent, unrestrained celebration, overjoyed at her incredible feat of strength. He quickly catches himself, trying to regain his villainous composure. The live chat explodes as the public's opinion shifts, now celebrating Stardust's incredible power. Egoistic smirks, satisfied that the public is finally seeing the true hero he's been trying to create. The immense effort finally takes its toll, and the hero begins to collapse from sheer exhaustion. Stardust lies unconscious on the ground. The comments go wild, thinking Egoistic is going to do something perverted. But with a flash of purple energy, Egoistic teleports to her side, kneeling over the fallen hero. She manages to utter his name. Lying defeated, Stardust can only watch as he stands over her. He quietly congratulates her on her victory, admitting she surpassed even his wildest expectations. Egoistic gently closes her eyes, telling her to rest, and gives the unconscious hero a surprisingly tender pat on the head. Standing over her, he formally concludes his broadcast. Back at their base, Seo-eun energetically rushes to her sleepy teammates, scolding them for being so drained. To their surprise, she presents a simple but steaming hot breakfast of noodles and eggs. Egoistic and Soo-bin look on in amazement. He smiles warmly and pats her head in thanks, and she gets shy, then suddenly pinches his side with surprising strength, ending the tender moment. The villainous trio finally sits down to enjoy a well-earned meal. As they eat, Seo-eun suddenly grabs the remote and leaps onto the couch, excitedly announcing it's time to watch the news to see how the media is covering their great achievement. Egoistic feels certain his villainous image is now solidified, and Stardust's popularity has skyrocketed. His smug expression quickly fades into utter confusion as he watches the broadcast. The top story is a shocking rumor. Egoistic and Stardust are secretly dating. The report details the events, then focuses on a single, misleading photo of Egoistic gently closing the fallen hero's eyes. The anchor suggests their relationship seems less like enemies and more like lovers. Seeing this, both Stardust and Egoistic scream in fury. The media fuels the fire, framing the hero and villain as the nation's hottest new celebrity couple. A news analyst passionately misinterprets the cryptic message, "Egoistic left" at a previous crime scene, as a romantic gift. The broadcast then replays the moment Egoistic knelt over the fallen Stardust, declaring this tender scene as undeniable proof of their secret love affair as the rumor spreads like wildfire. In an empty lecture hall, Shin-Haru sits alone, stunned by the news circulating on her phone. She holds her head in frustration, wondering if the entire world has gone completely insane. She internally scoffs at the dating rumors, finding the idea of a relationship with the villain completely absurd. Yet beneath her disgust, she senses a strange, conflicting emotion she can't quite identify. Her friend, Ga-hyun, suddenly appears. "Your soul has been so utterly worn out because of assignments. Today, let's heal it." She cheerfully presents a flyer for a sweet treat, declaring it's time for them to go out and have some fun. The scene shifts to our villain's base. Seo-eun is throwing a comical tantrum on the floor, desperate to go out. Moved by her pleas, Daein calmly announces that the entire team will be going on an outing together. Seo-eun erupts in unrestrained joy. Looking at the same flyer, he notes this outing wasn't in his original plan, but casually wonders what could possibly go wrong. Meanwhile, Haru smiles, thinking about their spontaneous trip to an ice cream festival. Later, they arrive at the bustling event. Elsewhere, Seo-eun questions why Daein is wearing black clothes again. He replies that black is a man's color. She laughs heartily at his excuse, her face lighting up with genuine amusement. Daein is momentarily stunned by her bright smile. Her attention is suddenly captured by a stand selling a unique rice-flavored ice cream. Overcome with excitement, she bolts towards the stall. His other accomplice, Lee Soo-bin, notes how happy the outing has made their friend. Only Soo-bin is using a perception-lowering filter because she was accidentally seen on a broadcast when Daein recruited her. Later, Daein tries the ice cream and is pleasantly surprised. He offers a spoonful to Soo-bin, who becomes incredibly flustered at his simple offer to share. Her mind races with the implications of sharing a spoon, her heart pounding. She cautiously takes a small bite and admits it's delicious. Seo-eun suddenly spots a mango ice cream stand and bolts towards it. She presses her face against the glass, her eyes sparkling with an intense craving. As Daein and Soo-bin finally catch up, the vendor cheerfully mistakes the trio for a young family, much to Daein's confusion. He awkwardly plays along while Soo-bin blushes at being implied as his wife. Seo-eun laughs, teasing him about how old he must look to be mistaken for a father. He retorts that her short stature is the real reason, much to her comical annoyance. The vendor returns and proudly declares that the leader of the mango troupe must, of course, have mango ice cream. The vendor freezes, then suddenly reveals a custom shirt, outing himself as a dedicated fan. Egoistic looks completely drained by his own fame. Later, they sit on a bench and Daein spots a balloon dart game. Confidently boasting about his skills. As his accomplices watch, he prepares to demonstrate his supposed mastery. Seo-eun eyes him suspiciously, questioning if he's planning to cheat with his telekinesis. The grand prize is a massive teddy bear, which Seo-eun declares she wants. With a confident smirk, Daein promises to win it for her, secretly preparing to cheat. But then he hears a familiar voice. His eyes widen in shocking recognition. The woman is Shin Haru's friend, Ga-hyun. She points out the prize, inspiring Haru to confidently declare she will win it for her. Our boy freezes as Seo-eun asks why he has suddenly stopped. She then stares in disbelief as the blonde woman confidently cuts in front of their boss. The villain and his crew comically look away as they realize the girl is none other than Stardust herself. Daein is completely thrown off his game, staring blankly as his rival stands beside him. From Haru's perspective, a few minutes earlier, she's annoyed to see the mango ice cream stall is dedicated to Egoistic's mango troupe. Despite her annoyance, she tries to enjoy the treat with her friend. As they approach the dart game, she notices Daein's group and thinks they look like a young married couple. Wondering if she's seen the man before, her thoughts are interrupted as Ga-hyun cheers her on. Haru throws the dart with incredible force, obliterating the first balloon. Daein watches in disbelief, remembering that Stardust's official powers are only strength and flight, but her strength is on a completely different level. Her next throw unleashes a golden streak of energy that rockets across the festival grounds. Our boy internally notes that her strength becomes absurdly powerful at will. He recalls that her powers also include a developing sixth sense, allowing her to instinctively detect danger. A wave of panic hits him as he realizes she might be able to sense his villainous identity right now. The final dart hits its mark, securing her a perfect score. As Egoistic awkwardly prepares to take his turn, he decides the situation is too risky and plans to throw without his powers. But his competitive streak takes over, and he unleashes a volley of darts with perfect, unnatural precision, securing another flawless score, leaving him and his companions utterly baffled. As his group tries to make a quick getaway, the vendor calls out. Ga-hyun says she'll deliver the prize to them, and Haru collects the teddy bear. But as Ga-hyun leaves, her tall ice cream gets knocked, causing a tent to wobble. Daein panics, thinking, if I get involved here, it's a one-way ticket to a bad ending route. He dives to the ground in a comical display of agility, narrowly avoiding the disaster. His companions and Ga-hyun rush to his side. He frantically signals for his team to flee before they're all exposed. Haru hands over the teddy bear to Seo-eun, but their escape is cut short by the sound of a panicked crowd. The peaceful festival suddenly descends into chaos. A massive, fanged reptilian creature emerges from the dust and debris. The A-class villain, Crocman, roars into the sky, demanding a showdown with Stardust. Amidst the panic, Egoistic quickly gathers his companions, pulling them into a protective huddle. He internally questions the villain's sudden appearance, realizing this event is happening far too early in the timeline. Haru pulls her friend towards safety, thinking that she's running out of time to get to the Hero Association for a perception-altering filter. Our boy is left in a dilemma. He thinks, if Stardust shows up without her filter, the moment her face is revealed, it's the beginning of the unhappy, miserable route, just like in the original story. His expression hardens with absolute resolve, vowing to prevent that tragic outcome at all costs. He unleashes a powerful surge of energy, teleporting his entire team out of the public eye. In a flash of purple light, the trio reappears in their hideout. Egoistic puts on his villain attire and announces he's grabbing his gear. Seo-eun questions his next move, and he orders her to prepare for a broadcast. He teleports again, leaving a worried Seo-eun behind. The scene returns to the festival as the reptilian villain roars, threatening to destroy everything if Stardust doesn't show herself. But his rampage is cut short by a cheerful voice. A massive speaker blasts an announcement. "Hello everyone, the true villain of this era, South Korea's public enemy #1. It is I, Egoistic, you little crocodile bastard, messing around in my territory." The story then flashes back 3 years to the Hero Association. A lecturer unveils the perception-altering filter, a device designed to protect a hero's identity. It makes anyone who sees your filtered face suffer from a minor facial recognition impairment. The lecturer firmly warns, "I'd like to think there are no idiots here who don't know how dangerous it is for a hero's real face to be revealed." A revealed identity means the end of a career and possibly their life. A determined young Shin Haru in the audience takes this warning to heart. Back in the present day, caught off guard without her filter, Haru realizes she can't reach headquarters in time. She tightens her fist. Did I become a hero just to run away in a situation like this? She unties her hair, walking towards the danger with determination. Her friend worriedly calls out her name, but Haru stops in confusion as she hears the crowd cheering that Egoistic is here. As the smoke clears, Egoistic thinks, "I'll never let Stardust go through so much crap like in the original story after her face was revealed. A normal life is really important to a hero." He shouts at the crocodile, "What would a swamp puppy like you even know?" The creature retaliates, accusing Egoistic of having a romantic, lovey-dovey connection with Stardust. Egoistic quickly denies the accusation as the crocodile villain starts climbing a pillar, furiously stating that he'll kill that bastard. He lunges, only for Egoistic to teleport away and trample on his head, mocking him for not knowing about his teleportation ability. The enemy calls him a mosquito-like bastard and tells him to fight fair and square, to which Egoistic responds, "I'm a villain, you idiot." The comment section laughs, questioning if he's still insisting he's a villain. Egoistic's mind races, desperate to clear up the misunderstanding. With genuine frustration, he demands to know why the reptilian villain suddenly targeted him. The villain declares them enemies due to their shared interest in Stardust, leaving Egoistic utterly baffled. The comments go wild, saying that 2 men are fighting over 1 woman. The crocodile grew angrier and mocked Egoistic by imitating his earlier threat to make him dead meat. Embarrassed, Egoistic kept lying and denied ever saying such a thing. Pushed to his limit, the reptilian villain erupts with rage, his body pulsing with raw, flaming power. He channels a massive amount of energy into his mouth, preparing a devastating attack. A colossal beam of fire erupts from the crocodile's jaws, scorching everything in its path. Using his teleportation, Egoistic narrowly evades the lethal blast. Unfazed, Egoistic unveils an arsenal of weaponry which surrounds the swamp puppy. "See you in hell, son of a bitch." An overwhelming volley of bullets rains down, engulfing the creature in a fiery explosion. As the smoke clears, the creature emerges unscathed, laughing off the attack. Egoistic then reveals his previous assault was merely a feint. He puts on a gas mask, and as the enraged villain opens its jaws to roar, it inadvertently swallows a glowing device. A blinding light erupts from within the creature as the device detonates internally, and the reptilian villain falls, defeated. Egoistic scoffs, revealing Stardust had a tough time with the crocodile's hard skin in the original story, so he came prepared. The comments chant Egoistic's name, with some saying the Hero Association should just designate him as a hero already. As his arsenal of firearms rains down, he lands softly on the ground, too drained to even lift his phone with telekinesis. He frantically tries to save his villainous reputation, insisting he only fought out of personal dislike. Suddenly, a brilliant flash of golden light smashes down nearby. The hero Stardust has landed. She confronts Egoistic over the fallen creature, demanding to know if he was the one who defeated it. Egoistic casually admits he did, claiming the creature was simply in his way because he kept yelling that I was all lovey-dovey with you, and it was getting on my nerves. Hearing this, Stardust tightens her fist. Egoistic then switches off his live stream audio and says to her, "Never again do what you were about to do today. Don't even think about revealing your face and stepping up when there's a crisis. The moment you go public, your life will become very tiring." This leaves her speechless. He abruptly ends his live stream and teleports away. As Stardust desperately tries to call him back, she's left standing alone, processing his strange warning. Egoistic appears in his hideout, but he stumbles and collapses as his 2 companions rush to his side, shouting his real name in panic. Elsewhere, Stardust holds Egoistic's fallen mask, contemplating the strange encounter. She wonders how he knew what she was thinking. What is his identity, really? Later that night, Haru sits at her desk, still wrestling with the villain's cryptic warning. News articles on her screen praise egoistic's actions, blurring the line between hero and villain. She scrolls through fan forums filled with gushing praise for the very man she's supposed to fight. She collapses onto her bed, crushed by the realization that everyone seems to love her greatest enemy. She recalls egoistic's warning about her secret identity and begins to question if her own judgment about him has been wrong all along. The scene shifts to egoistic's hideout, where the two girls watch over the unconscious boy. Seo-eun fumes, blaming the hero, Stardust, for pushing him to his physical limits. Her angry expression shifts to one of shock as she notices a sudden movement. Egoistic opens his eyes with a faint smirk, having been awake and listening the whole time. He casually asks why they look so concerned. Overwhelmed with relief, Seo-eun lunges forward, embracing him tightly. Later, at the dining table, Egoistic learns he's been unconscious for 3 days after overexerting his powers. Seo-eun tearfully lectures him on his recklessness, making him promise to be more careful. He internally smirks, realizing her concern stems from the close bond they've formed recently. Lee Subin then questions why he intervened, because now everyone thinks he's a hero. Seo-eun passionately agrees, finding his decisive action a refreshing change from his usual villain persona. Egoistic calmly explains his true reason. He had to act before Stardust was forced to reveal her identity. He paints a grim picture of a hero's life after they're exposed, making them a target for every villain with a grudge. Seo-eun glares at him. What does that have to do with us? He explains, the world we live in is made up of an asymmetry of good and evil. Most superhumans, instead of becoming heroes, walk the path of villains. Just look at Korea. There are only 3 A-rank heroes, Stardust, Icicle, and Shadow Walker, but A-rank villains are overflowing, aren't they? Seo-eun sighs. So you're saying you're eliminating villains on their behalf? You've become a real dark hero. What does that have to do with us? Egoistic claims his actions are purely for the country's sake. Hearing this, she glares suspiciously. You're not saying you like that Stardust chick, right? Daein tells her to use nicer words when talking about Stardust. This causes the atmosphere to tense up as Seo-eun gives him a death glare. Subin panics and quickly tries to defuse the situation, cheerfully reminding Seo-eun to tell Daein what they had talked about earlier. Snapping out of her mood, Seo-eun excitedly proposes a beach trip. Overjoyed by his positive reaction, she pumps her fists in celebration. He agrees to the vacation, but only after they commit one more act of villainy to ruin his heroic image. He thinks Stardust will power up, but there's no guarantee another monster won't appear. If she had faced him instead of me, she definitely would have struggled. Seo-eun skeptically asks if he's serious about the vacation, and Egoistic reassures her with a charming smile and a pinky promise. Her mood instantly brightens. Her mind already racing, she eagerly takes charge of the planning, proposing they take their next act of villainy to the sea or the sky. Her suggestion sparks an intense moment of inspiration for Egoistic. He finalizes his next diabolical plan, a passenger plane plummeting into the ocean below. Sometime later, a commercial airliner soars peacefully through the clear blue sky. Suddenly, every screen in the cabin flickers on. The screens display the title of his broadcast, revealing Egoistic has taken control of the flight. He welcomes the captive audience to a quiz show at 25,000 feet, kicking off his airborne terror. He confirms their worst fears by showing a bomb he has attached to the aircraft. The cabin erupts into chaos as the passengers scream in absolute terror. From his secret lair, Egoistic smirks, officially beginning his twisted, high-stakes game. Elsewhere, Stardust storms into a briefing room, demanding to know how much time has passed. The chairman informs her that it may already be too late to intervene. She slams her fist down in fury, insisting she must act now. Another hero enters the room, grumbling about operating in daylight. Stardust's face lights up upon seeing her ally, Kim Ji-an, revealed to be the A-rank hero, Shadow Walker. He greets her calmly and tells the chairman, I'll only go as far as Jeju Island's airport and then go to sleep. Combat is too much. With determination, Stardust and Shadow Walker depart. They vanish into the shadows and reappear in a stairway. She thanks him and runs ahead as he vomits in pain from the sunlight. With renewed determination, she strikes a confident pose, ready to launch into action. But her expression immediately vanishes, replaced by one of absolute shock and horror as a massive explosion rips the side of the plummeting airplane apart. The story flashes back several years. Inside a warehouse, the notorious S-rank villain Thousand Needle boasts about his grand plan to conquer Korea. An unseen voice suddenly challenges him. A silver-haired man calmly walks into the room, revealing himself to be a rookie A-class hero, Shadow Walker. Enraged, Thousand Needle smashes the ground with a devastating blow, but Shadow Walker vanishes into the shadows. A dark, shadowy figure emerges from the floor, pulling the henchmen into the ground one by one. Realizing he's underestimated his foe, Thousand Needle prepares for a serious fight. A flurry of needles strike Shadow Walker, but the villain's taunts are cut short as he sees it was only a clone. The villain's bravado evaporates into sheer terror as he finds Shadow Walker standing silently behind him. With cold confidence, the hero declares, "This is now my domain," as a monstrous shadow beast with glowing red eyes manifests from his power, completely dwarfing the terrified villain. The flashback ends. We see the Shadow Walker collapsed in the present, his power useless in the daylight, especially outside of his domain. The scene shifts back to Egoistic. From his control room, he watches Stardust's arrival, noting that the main actress has finally entered the stage. With a wicked smile, he prepares to begin the final, twisted part of his airborne quiz show as the terrified passengers on the plane tremble. The scene shifts to 30 minutes earlier, showing the initial moments of panic that gripped the flight. Egoistic's face dominates every screen, a constant, chilling presence. A palpable sense of dread fills the cabin as the helpless passengers await their fate. He calmly explains the rules, instructing everyone to turn on their phones and disable airplane mode. A man nervously discovers a text message detailing the challenge. Answer 10 questions correctly to defuse the bomb or face the consequences. Egoistic issues a final, chilling command for absolute silence. He presents the first question. How many people can fit on the Titanic's lifeboat? A 1-minute timer begins, putting immense pressure on the terrified passengers. A woman breaks the rules, glancing at her neighbor's screen. Egoistic immediately calls her out for cheating, announcing her elimination, and the man next to her as well. As the timer hits 0, he mockingly reveals the answer was 9. Back in his lair, he laughs that it's a pun because the number 9 in Korean sounds like rescue. On the plane's main screen, a seating chart appears. Dozens of seats are marked with red X's, showing just how many passengers have already failed. He warns the survivors to focus as the next round begins with a nearly impossible time limit. The round concludes, and the results are in. Only a single passenger has survived. From his lair, Egoistic watches Stardust's approach on his monitor. He announces a final interview, where one man's words will decide everyone's fate. The last survivor, a man named Kim Deok-bae, trembles under the immense pressure. His panicked outburst breaks the rule of silence. He quickly tries to laugh it off, begging the villain to let his mistake slide. Egoistic considers it, then coldly says, "I don't feel like it." The final player is eliminated. Suddenly the plane jolts as a massive explosion rips it apart, and it hurtles towards the ground. From his lair, Egoistic smirks, declaring the stage is set for the hero's grand entrance. On the ground, Stardust watches in horror. Through her earpiece, she asks the chairman what to do. He tells her they give up and hangs up to draft a condemnation statement. This leaves Stardust clenching her fist in furious helplessness. Overwhelmed, she collapses to her knees in despair, realizing that saving a falling plane is far beyond her current power. A painful memory surfaces of the pouring rain and the tragic loss of her parents. In the present, she channels that same fury, smashing her fist into the pavement, once again overwhelmed by a feeling of powerlessness. Suddenly, a static buzz from her earpiece breaks her out of her despair. Her eyes widen in disbelief as Egoistic's voice unexpectedly crackles through the comms. A few moments earlier, back in his lair, the villain stretches with satisfaction. Just then, Seo-eun interrupts with a worried question, wondering why the hero is just standing idly by. Our boy erupts in panic, demanding to know why Stardust is just standing there. The villain's eyes widen with dawning realization. He urgently orders Seo-eun to hack into the hero's communication device. Stardust looks shocked as he calmly introduces himself directly into her ear. She shouts at him, calling him a piece of trash. Egoistic says, "I was just wondering, why aren't you going to save them right now? The plane's crashing." She furiously yells, "You're the one who made it crash, and you want me to stop it?" But he coolly asks, "Who else is capable of stopping it?" With tears in her eyes, she screams, "If I touch that steel hunk falling at 1,000 kilometers per hour, my body will shatter into pieces. Was this your plan, to drive me to my death?" But he tells her no, and that she can do it. "So go, clench your fists, plant your legs, fly up into the sky, and save those people. You can do it, because that's who you are." She trembles, asking what the hell this lunatic is even saying. Egoistic then says to her, "Why would I try to kill you? Without you, Miss Stardust, I'm just another common villain. You are what completes me." His words strike a chord. She removes the earpiece. "Maybe this is just a trick to eliminate me, but just this once, I'll fall for it." She crushes the device and readies herself. The ground shatters as she launches into the sky, soaring towards the falling plane with renewed purpose. The villain's bizarre encouragement fuels her resolve, her eyes blazing with fierce determination. Inside the plane, Kim Deok-bae is consumed by despair. A vision of his happy family flashes before his eyes. The cabin is consumed by fire when a young girl looks out the window, her terror turning to utter confusion. With tears streaming down her face, she realizes the plane's terrifying descent is slowing down. On the ground, emergency crews stare up in disbelief at the impossible sight. Stardust unleashes a blinding golden aura, single-handedly halting the massive plane's fall. Later, a flight attendant wakes a dazed but alive Kim Deok-bae. He stumbles out onto the tarmac and looks around in a state of shock. The rescued passengers stare in awe at the hero kneeling before them. Tears of pure gratitude stream down his face as he understands a hero was the one who protected them. Stardust kneels on the tarmac, gasping for breath. As tears of exhaustion fall, she realizes the one who pushed her to this impossible feat was egoistic. News of her incredible rescue spreads like wildfire, cementing her status as a global phenomenon in many countries. In the TV, the morning news told the story of the plane that was hijacked by egoistic, resulting in 0 casualties, all because of their hero, Stardust. Back in her apartment, Stardust watches the report while brushing her head. Her moment of calm is shattered by a phone call. A blue-haired woman surprises her with some good news. She's arranged for Stardust to take a well-deserved vacation by the sea. Overjoyed, Haru eagerly accepts, saying she'll invite Shadow Walker too. Later, she stands on her balcony, contemplating the recent chaotic events. The villain's words replay in her mind. She's struck by the profound realization that a villain was the one who believed in her most. A new question forms in her mind. Why would egoistic orchestrate a plane crash only to ensure she was there to stop it? His confusing words about her, completing him, echo in her head, leaving her utterly exasperated. Convinced there's a hidden motive, Stardust realizes his actions are part of a much larger, deliberate plan. With newfound resolve, she decides to dig into his past to uncover the truth. Her investigation is cut short by an incoming call from the Hero Association. The caller's request for a remeasurement of her stats catches her completely off guard. Elsewhere, Seoyeon celebrates ecstatically, fully prepared for their beach trip. Egoistic tells her to deflate the tube so he can put it in the vehicle. She excitedly calls him brother, and he cringes at her overly enthusiastic behavior. He then reflects on this being his first real break since arriving in this world. With a confident smirk, he decides to embrace the vacation, but their plans immediately hit a snag as they find themselves stuck in a massive traffic jam. The situation worsens when the car's air conditioner breaks. Seoyeon suggests teleporting the car, but Dain quickly dismisses the lethal idea. Instead, he tells her to take off her shirt. She complains they should have taken the train, but he reminds her they couldn't because of the luggage. Assuming it's just more vacation supplies, she opens the luggage. Her curiosity turns to shock as she finds a firearm inside. Egoistic grins through his sweat, justifying the gun as a necessary precaution. Losing her patience, Seo-eun points the gun at him as he nervously tries to de-escalate the situation. After a long drive, the trio finally arrives at the sparkling blue sea. Seo-eun dashes towards the water with childlike glee. While Egoistic watches with amusement, Lee Soo-bin cracks open a cold drink and kindly offers him a soda. As they sit together, an awkward silence falls between them. Soo-bin breaks the silence, sincerely telling him how much she appreciates him for saving her and always being kind. He enthusiastically praises her for taking care of the housework, especially her amazing cooking. His heartfelt compliments leave Soo-bin blushing. Egoistic suddenly feels a shift in the atmosphere, sensing a potentially romantic moment is about to unfold. His mind races with paranoid thoughts of betrayal and classic story tropes. He eyes the soda can with suspicion, wondering if his companion has booby-trapped it. The scene shifts to the Hero Association, where officials debate how Stardust's power defied all their previous data. One official clarifies that by stopping the impossible disaster, she has clearly awakened to a new level of strength. In the testing chamber, Stardust channels her newfound energy. With a determined cry, she unleashes the full force of her awakened abilities. A swirling maelstrom of golden energy bursts forth from her as her charged fist collides with the measuring device, unleashing a blinding, cataclysmic explosion. The officials stumble back in disbelief, witnessing her power surge to unprecedented levels.